Yo, what up? Happy Juneteenth Eve.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy
Eve.
Juneteenth Eve,
That's it.
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm really excited, man. I'm really happy, man, about Juneteenth being a holiday, man. It is. I know for a lot of people, it's been a long time coming, a hard fought battle. To get just the recognition of of just enslaved peoples. Let me rephrase that. A recognition of our heritage, man. A
Yeah.
recognition of our heritage. You know what I'm saying? That's too many times get diminished. It gets reduced, and and it's important. It's very important, and you know, uh, So I'm excited, man. I'm sorry. What's up with you?
Man, I'm excited. I've been actually celebrating all week, man. And my two trolls, man, that keep coming. Every time they said some old goofy stuff, I told them Happy Juneteenth. That's how happy I was.
That's how you got. Hey man, that's how you. Hey man, that's how you got. That's how you got to do them people, man. You know what I'm saying? The person that won't be mentioned. That individual. You know. Yeah, I ain't gonna mention her.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna mention her. Dang, I'm trying to see who this is. I left my phone. I need to go get my phone. God dang it.
Hey,
Yeah,
brother.
man. Huh?
No, somebody was saying, hey, brother.
Yeah, yeah. What's up, brother? As soon as I get my phone, I will figure out, who's saying it, and because this low budget thing that we're using, it won't it won't allow me to see people, man. So but it's all good, man. I appreciate everybody who's tuning in for Juneteenth. What's up? What's happening? What is happening, man?
What's
What's
up?
happening, man? So let's go ahead and get into this Juneteenth, man. When did you hear about Juneteenth?
Man, honestly, when we moved down um, to the Carolinas, man, we started kind of soul searching a little bit and trying to connect with the little, Black history in South Carolina and so forth. Then we found out it's in Spartanburg, a couple towns over, um, they it was a Juneteenth fest. We like, hold on, Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And then, we heard like Barack Obama talk about it. And then it was a couple other people, and we was like, whoa, time out, what's going on here? I have never heard of Juneteenth before.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2016, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, first time I heard of it was 2003, 2003, 2004 ish. Oh, what's up? What's up, Willie? Hey, brother, appreciate you tuning in, brother. I know y'all got y'all's things on that feeling podcast group, man. So, appreciate your support, brother, and everybody go out there and support these brothers, man. Who's
Yeah,
doing
shout
good
out to
things over
that.
there, man. Yeah, 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 man. Them
Got you.
cats. Yeah, it'd be a lot of funny stuff happening over there, man. So go like their page and enjoy them brothers over there. But yeah, I didn't hear about it until 2003, 2004. We were in Arizona, and we met a
Mhm.
couple, and they were from Texas. Our friend was from no, I'm sorry, he was from Port Arthur, Texas. She was from Missouri, I think, and they had a Juneteenth fest in Arizona, and I was like, "What is Juneteenth? I ain't never heard of that." You know what I'm saying? And then he started,
Yeah.
telling me about
Yeah.
Juneteenth and what it was. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Oh man, I've never heard of this. I never heard this story, right? This ethos,
Yeah. Yeah.
in our story." So it was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Enjoying Juneteenth, and ever since, we try to look for, a Juneteenth fest wherever we've been at, man. So, I'm excited for this,
Yeah.
this weekend, and I'm just excited for every year that it's a federal holiday, man. Again, I think it's important to our heritage that these stories get told, man. But yeah, man. Let me see. I want to play this clip real quick of Africana
Okay.
Car, man. Our guy, man. I like Africana Car.
All right, man.
Yeah, Africana
Yes,
Car is my
sir.
guy, man. So this is a clip from Roland Martin, and in this he's explaining the how he's explaining how Juneteenth. We should be using it as a celebration of many things. You know what I'm saying? Many
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
Juneteenth or Emancipation Days, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Texas wasn't the only state that had a Emancipation Day. South Carolina had one, Maryland had one, Chicago had one. They had many days, and it was on different dates. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In 1980, when it became a state holiday, it became a state holiday in Texas. People need to understand that Black people were already celebrating, Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? They just wasn't recognized by the state. So all over the states, wherever Emancipation Day or Freedom Day was happening, they were already celebrating the holiday, man. So it's not nothing new. I know a lot of people out there like, hey, man, oh man, I'm just not, so and so, people out there like, oh, Trump made it famous. You know what I'm saying? No, Trump didn't make anything famous, man. I don't, I know that he said that last year, but he didn't, man. Black people, once again, contribute to this, to society and contribute to the American story. You know what I'm saying? And no, it's not a replacement for Independence Day. It is to acknowledge that 1776 there was a group of people who were still enslaved. They weren't slaves. We need a correct language. They were enslaved. You know what I'm saying? So you can read. I think one thing that I think that we need to do on Juneteenth is to read what to the Negro or what to the slave is the Fourth of July, written by Frederick Douglass. He wrote that in 1852. You know what I'm saying? To understand the importance of Juneteenth or Emancipation Day or all these freedom days, Freedom Day. Yeah,
Hey,
but
look, they can keep their Fourth of July for me, and it's just a day off for me and time to just sit back and barbecue.
hmm
That's all it means to me. That's just all honesty. Um, I have no historical connection to that.
yeah, that was something that I was talking to my daughter about how I think that in the black culture we treated Fourth of July as like a mini family reunion many a times.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
treated as anything Star Spangled Banner or anything like that. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I think deep down, because there was Emancipation Days and because there was Freedom Days and because we have majority of our family is from the South, what I mean, that celebrated these things. I think that there was always this thing about a separation. Like, hey, there's Fourth of July, but great 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 grandpa. You know what I'm saying? Again,
Hmm.
tracing back our lineage on our mom's side, we just have to go back 4 generations. You know what I'm saying? Before we encounter the first person who's enslaved. You know what I mean? And we knew our great grandfather, and he probably would have known his great grandfather who was a slave. You know what I mean? Who was enslaved.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
people need to understand first timelines. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I traced it back, like 6 generations or so. Yeah, 6 generations. So we have like, I traced it back to 1832. You know what I'm saying? And so from that point, 1832 to 65. I mean, they're like 4 grandparents. You know what I'm saying? That we had that was enslaved, or three
Yeah.
grandparents that were enslaved, and then from 1866 to 1965, there's another 4 or 5 generations of people who grew up under Jim Crow. So we got to understand timelines and everything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
play. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
so so essentially what you're breaking down is, quote unquote, that we are the first generation of being totally free.
Right, right. We are. We're the first generation being totally free. And again, it's something that we talk about, and we're going to talk about generational success, right? And why that is, you know what I'm saying? Because we were untethered from a society that adhered to a racial hierarchy, right? That adhered to a racial hierarchy socially, in law, you know what I mean, and everything like that. So while yes, there is racism, and racism still exists, it is not the ball and chain that it was to, you know, our parents and our grandparents. You know what I'm saying? People think that in 1968, that's when the civil rights actually ends, you know what I mean, because of the Fair Housing Act. They think that, oh, you know, somehow, you know, it went away, you know what I'm saying? But there were still remnants of it, and it was in our education system, and it was in our economic system, you know what I mean, of these hierarchies that was created, especially in hiring practices. Of course, we saw it in redlining, we saw it in policing, you know what I mean. So Jim Crow still existed for like another like 20 years, you know what I mean. It just wasn't, you know, it just wasn't in your face, you know, Jim Crow, you know what I'm saying, like it was, you know, but it still existed, you know, it still existed. So, you know, but yeah, man, let me get to this clip to Africa. But oh, go ahead, John.
No, I was just gonna say I like to say the fall of Jim Crow was what we seen stop and frisk
Hmm.
in New York. That was the complete end
Hmm.
when they dismantled that part.
Oh, there's still stop and frisk that still exists.
No, no, they're still stop and frisk. But what I'm
Hmm.
saying is, as a um, social structure that was just outright,
Hmm.
it was one of the things that was dismantled, where people are now pushing back, where you are seeing the fall of those pieces.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's still you know, a ways to go. You know, we'll get into
Oh yeah.
reparations for a little bit, and how this federal holiday connects to reparations there. And I know Michael Imhotep, he talks about it too. But let me get to our brother, or let me get to brother Carr here. Let me see here.
Y'all know she running her mouth and people talking about her on Twitter. Ain't gonna be no screenshot on this show of what her dumb ass said, because I don't really care. I don't really care what she
And this
think
from the Merle Martin
or the
show.
white nationalists who she rolled with. It's just as simple as that. But I did. Greg, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, brother, to pick up on what Reese and Amisha said about the significance of this ritual of Juneteenth. Juneteenth was never just a celebration of our liberation struggle, a watershed moment. It was always Juneteenth is all, and you know this better than any of us as a Texan. Juneteenth is always connected with purpose. So it isn't just celebration; it's
That's
also
right.
about dedication to a struggle. And you know, it's interesting. You mentioned Al Edwards. Something standing there talking to what's the representative from Texas? Your man's Al.
Al Green, Representative Al Green.
And I said, you know what? What would Al Edwards say, man? He said he would be here today, brother, if he wasn't an ancestor. And I said he would. He said this is a day that he fought for in Texas. Talking to Steve Holford, Representative Holford out of Nevada, whose people are from Trinidad. I said, you know what's funny, brother? They think this is about a domestic holiday. They don't realize that Juneteenth is one of the Liberation Day celebrations that connects to where your people are from. He said, yeah, my people from Trinidad, and of course in Trinidad they call it Emancipation Day. Talking with Karen Bass and seeing her there with Representative Barbara Lee. Some of the oldest Juneteenth celebrations outside of Texas are in the Bay Area. And of course, Amisha, you know this better than any of us. Chicago has huge Juneteenth rituals that they do. That because the migration patterns out of Mississippi. So Danny Davis standing there. And for that matter, Gwen Moore out of Wisconsin, Milwaukee has some of the oldest. And I was standing there talking to Dwight Evans. I say, man, you know, remember our brother when Ron Brown and the Juneteenth Memorial Committee in Philly? He said, "Yeah, man, it goes back 25 years." So to your point, Juneteenth is about a liberation ritual that connects to Decoration Day, which this country turned into Memorial Day, but it started in South Carolina. Juneteenth connects to the Watch Service when black folks prayed in the North, and then January 1st, 1863, got up off their knees, got some guns, and ended the Civil War by joining the military. They called that our Emancipation Day. So I mean, just to echo, The United States may have one agenda for black people, but we have always had another agenda for ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with getting paid for a day off that you were going to take anyway. Because if you remember the origins of the Martin Luther King federal holiday, we started taking that off before anybody recognized it. And so many black people started doing it. Finally, at the local level, they said, shit, we got to make this a holiday. Juneteenth is not that different. We determine our destiny in this.
Absolutely. And I do.
Yeah, man.
Man, the last point that he came up with talking about Martin Luther King holiday,
Mm-hmm.
I was just entering the workforce
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when people were protesting just taking off Martin Luther King holiday. I remember my job, we could not get off on Martin Luther King holiday. In some places, you still can.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't recognize it as a federal holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was still in protest when I entered the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, and I imagine that Juneteenth is going to be the same way. You're going to be people out there, protesting, what I mean, for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know the reason. You know what I'm saying? It's still in this ethos of being anti-black. You know what I'm saying? And that and that's what it is. Or being in that space of being anti-black. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up? I can't believe I forgot my phone. I normally just keep slipping today, man. Appreciate y'all. But with Africana Car and saying, man, is that we, when we tell this story of Juneteenth, man, we have to tell it that, hey, man, it's just not about the word that got to Texas, right? And I'll go over that here in a bit. It's not just about, it is about, these other Liberation Day and Freedom Days and Emancipation Days that was celebrated throughout the country, you know what I'm saying, by black people before they became state, holidays, you know what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that we continue to tell that story, you know what I mean? Because, and the other thing we have to also prevent is it becoming a myth. You know what I'm saying? Becoming this myth of, oh, well, the Union Army came down and liberated these people from Texas. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell that story without talking about all of the black regiments in the Union Army that also fought for their freedom. You can't tell that story also without talking about the enslaved people that did many things for their freedom, you know what I'm saying, by disrupting, the system of slavery by, breaking tools or pretending they were sick or, running away or creating revolts, you know what I'm saying? They fought for their, yeah, what's that?
No, I was just saying, or straight up slave revolt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So we have to make sure that we hold on to the storytelling, man, because Martin Luther King, the Martin Luther King gets told in a myth. You know what I'm saying? He gets told, and Martin Luther King gets reduced to the last two sentences of his "I Have a Dream" speech, right? You know what I'm saying? And people just totally not learn about or misrepresent the totality, right? He fought for UBI. He fought for affordable housing. He fought for healthcare for all. He fought for a livable wage. These were the things he was fighting for in conjunction with making sure that society was equal. But by and large, he wasn't just fighting for, black and white people, black and white kids to hold hands. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, bro.
No, that's how black conservatives and also white conservatives can use Dr. King to narrow him down to say, well, he was a Republican. Because his message at the end, it really did not say who he was.
Mm-hmm.
and and you see this misused all the time, especially on that side. But you also see it from liberal Democrats as well,
Mm-hmm.
um, which creates the problem of like you know who really was Dr. King.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
Um,
mean, he was a progressive. I mean, you can read
he was.
his letters. You can read his again. He was at the March on Washington for the
Mhm.
I Have a Dream speech because it was called the March on Washington for livable wage, affordable housing, and health care, amongst other
Hmm.
things. Man, like that's I don't. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't there. He
He
wasn't
was
there to
full on.
for people to have. Yeah, he wasn't there for people to be kumbaya. You know what I'm saying? So part of Juneteenth, what I don't want to see happen is that this myth telling. You know what I mean? Like we had to tell stories of African peoples because they were African. They were not African American. So again, language matters. You know what I'm saying? They were considered Negroes or black. You know what I'm saying? But they were not American until the signing of the 14th Amendment in 1867, I think. Um, uh, so um, so these Africans that fought for their own freedom, you know what I'm saying? They are more of the story than some people. The Union Army delivering a message. You know what I mean? To say, hey, you guys are you guys are free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we just have to we just have to make sure that we are the gatekeepers of this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I know there's a lot of people out there who are trying to correct the myth of Martin Luther King, um,
Hmm.
and rightfully so because it is a myth. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, so for a timeline, I'm gonna share this other article here, but for a timeline, so people understand about Juneteenth. So this specific Juneteenth was it's a holiday that celebrates June 19th, 1865, when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, bringing word that the Civil War had ended and any enslaved people were now free via President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. And President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation only applied to. Oh, let me interrupt. Let me just pause right there. So on these freedom days that they would have around the country, freedom days, liberation days, emancipation days, they would read Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation for a lot of these. You know what I'm saying? Particularly the ones that were, especially the ones that were in the South, they would read these. But so the Emancipation Proclamation only applied to the Confederate states. You know what I mean? The states that were considered part of the Confederacy. And Texas was one of those states. You know what I mean? The Emancipation Proclamation did not apply to border states. And the border states was Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, I think. I can't remember. All right, look, my public education is failing me right now. But but those were the border states, so the Emancipation Proclamation didn't apply to those states. So in 1863, President Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation. 2 years later, you get the people in the enslaved people in Texas gets word that they are actually free. And the rumor is, or what many historians surmise, there's no proof of it, is that the governor was a slave owner and he didn't want to tell them that they were enslaved because he was trying to get more money for it. He was trying to get crops planted. You know what I'm saying? Get money for his crops. But anyway, so by 1865, June of 1865, the war ends in April. Civil War ends in April of 1865. And again, Delaware is the last state in December 6th of 1865 to ratify the 13th Amendment. Um, I'm trying to pull up this article here. Yeah, so yeah, man. So that's kind of the timeline of Juneteenth. You know, But which is brings up, again, it's part of that storytelling that we have to make sure that we are, putting Delaware in its proper context. You know what I'm saying? Or just the whole story in the proper context. Of everything up to that point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I agree, man. Because I think that's what the problem is. You can connect this story to actually critical race theory, and when when you don't understand this stuff that happened in the 1800s to now, you then get to a point where you then have a black male with a college degree stand in front of a group of white people to
Mm-hmm.
say things like, it's no one who stopped me from going to college and getting my degree, when he doesn't understand that in generations that have fought for him to be there.
Right. 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 Right.
These are the misconceptions that a lot of people that fall into this realm of right wing talking points, that they don't understand why they in the position that they're in, because the context of history.
Mm-hmm. I would say that they know why they're there, man. And it's and a lot of times, man, I when I see black people who do that, because we're starting to see that, right? We're starting to see black people who are trying to make Juneteenth insignificant, right? You know what I'm saying? They're like, what's all this about? You know what I'm saying? But they are also, with that gentleman, and I know what you're talking about. The way I see it, like anytime I hear like a black person who speaks in me, my, and I, when they're talking about how racism has impacted them, I look at them as they're being cynical. They have this "if you can't beat them, join them" mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's this individualism that they have, that, well, it's me, 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 me. You know what I mean? Whereas we have conversations and we probably vote based on the group. You know what I mean? The group and everything like that. They vote and move based on their individuality. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that you're saying is that when you're doing that, when you're pandering, right? That's what he's doing. When you're pandering to a group of people who don't view race in this square, in this box, right? They just view it as, people are taking, right? They view the pie. They think that there's a pie, and they think that the pie gets smaller if people ask for it, rather than there's just enough pie for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So what they're so used to having bigger pieces of the pie, what I mean, not realizing that they gotta share some of the pie, but the pie don't get smaller. And then when you have this individual who goes in and say that, look, I am an individual that didn't have to take from your piece of the pie in order to get success. You know what I'm saying? When in reality,
Yeah, he's trying to convince his white neighbors that look, I'm with you guys. Like
hmm
I understand, but where he was going was, um he ended up in the place where he was saying, well, I don't think it's right to teach children to hate their, you know, their young white classmate. And I'm just
hmm
like, well, they do talk about slavery in school.
right,
There's
right,
never been a moment that I have looked at any of my white friends and I say, "Oh, I hate you for what you have done." Like
right,
it was crazy on how he even framed it,
right,
and I'm
right,
just
right.
like, because I
Like,
can tell this
yeah.
story. Our school took us to go see Amistad, right?
hmm
And we went to go see Amistad, And it was the first time we even really seen something like that
Mm-hmm.
in a visual context. So we as students did not know how to deal with that emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
So we as teenager, we were crying, we were
Mm-hmm.
upset, we were bothered, and you seen white kids laughing.
Yeah, it's a pretty emotional film, man.
Yeah, yeah. So to, to put it into context of what that guy was saying, my frustration with those students, they didn't see the pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because they're
It
disc.
wasn't because they were right. It wasn't because they were white.
Right.
It was because you're laughing at my pain. You
Right.
really
You
don't care.
you disconnected from it.
You disconnected from it.
You disconnected from it, and that
Your
person.
whiteness protects you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that person that was talking in that meeting, yeah, he's disconnected from the collective, or he feels he's disconnected from the
Right.
collective. But in our country, we spend so much time talking about race, and race is just a phenotypical trait, man. That's all it is. Race is just the outward, you know what I mean, outward appearance, somebody's
Yeah.
skin, somebody's hair, you know what I mean. It's not what matters, which is ethnicity, and this is why I say black people. Look, we're an ethnic group in this country, and again, that matters when we're talking about language. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, we're an ethnic group, and we need to, get people to understand that because we have a shared heritage. The reason why you was getting emotional in there is because you have a shared heritage. You can
Yeah.
understand. Look, black people. If you are a black person out there, man, and you listen to this, or you walking around, you walking around on this earth. You know what I mean? And your ancestors were part of the diaspora. Your grandparents survived a voyage over here, man. Like from that, you know what I mean? From some point, they survived a voyage, and then they survived the brutality of slavery and the oppression of the civil rights era. You know what I'm saying? Of Jim Crow.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And our ancestors only had 12 years in the sun, man. That's all they had. From I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but from 1619 until 1968, we only had 12 years in the sun, man. So those individuals, a lot of individuals don't understand that because they see themselves as individuals. You know what I'm saying? They don't. You know what I mean? They don't see themselves as Italian or German or Polish or Turkish or Spanish. You know what I mean? From Spain. That's what I'm talking about. Spanish
Yeah, yeah.
from Spain or Portuguese or anything like that. They just see themselves as an individual, right? And oh, I'm American. Why can't everybody be American? Well, we can't be American. We can't all be American because of the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment was created to give citizenship to the newly freed enslaved peoples, right? The
Which
Europeans who,
create
yeah,
right, which creates the 3/5.
Well, well, the 3/5 clause was before the 14th Amendment, but
No, no,
because of
but
the 3/5, right? Because of the three, so to tie all of it together, right? So you have to go back to the John Punch case in 1619 or 1640. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? You have to go back to the John Punch case. You have to go back and you have to read about oh man, what do they call it? They call it per shoot, I need to grab my phone. But they called it basically they called it birth of the from the womb or something. What comes from the womb or something like that. And basically that said that if you are born of an enslaved woman, then your status is then that you're a slave.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And this
yeah,
was a pervasive thing well into America becoming a country. This started when during the colonies, you know what I mean, in the 1600s. And then the same individuals that were part of the colonies
mhm,
that had relatives in the colonies, they adopt this same thing. You know what I'm saying? This idea that like, hey, look. And then of course really what takes the cake is the Dred Scott case, right? And the Dred Scott case says that because you're born of a woman who's enslaved Africans, Negroes could not get citizenship. They weren't citizens. They were not. We were not considered citizens. So, in order to get citizenship, well, you need the first 13th Amendment to end slavery. Then you need the 14th Amendment to give you citizenship to this country, and then you need the 15th Amendment to give you civil rights. And that didn't even give us civil rights, because then you had the Civil Rights Act in the 1800s. That gets thrown out for separate but equal. You know what I'm saying? And then Jim Crow just takes off. You know what I'm saying? And then you get the 1965 Civil Rights Act, and then the 1968 Civil Rights Act, which again, all it did was just give us civil rights. It didn't give us equality. That's what we're fighting. That's what a lot of these issues when it comes to fighting for now. But Juneteenth connects to all of that, man. Like, so people have to be very deliberate in telling stories, and if you are black out there, man, don't feel like you gotta like turn down your blackness. You know what I mean? Like, stop feeling that you gotta turn down your blackness, man. It's okay. Like, it's okay to be black, man. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be African American. It's okay to be, be that black face in that white space, and then telling, these stories, or correcting people on these stories when they get it wrong. Because I'm telling you, much like Cinco de Mayo, which is an American holiday, you know what I'm saying? We see what that turned into, right? People wearing sombreros and drinking tequilas and thinking that stuff is cool, and it's not cool, man. It's not cool. You're disrespecting the culture. You're disrespecting the meaning again of a holiday that's only celebrated in like one place, But yeah, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble there.
No, man. You good? Cause
I'm gonna go grab my phone. I'm gonna go grab my phone, John. I'll be right back. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this conversation, man. If y'all got any questions, man, let's go ahead and ask them, man. Make sure you share, comment, and let's talk about some things. Because these are things that lead to other things in our future that our kids need to understand as we go forward. Because we are watching a party that has been spending their whole entire political career as a party chip away at every bit of everything that we were just talking about. And
yeah, all right, I'm back. All right.
yeah, no, I was just kind of just saying everything that we were just talking about is literally tied to everything that's going on in a political party that has been taking that history and chopping away at every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're spending their whole political career on.
Yeah, and that's my concern with Juneteenth also, because we immediately saw it become like a political thing. You know what I'm saying? There were some quote unquote conservatives or Republicans or whatever you want to call them, who took a very hardline stance, you know what I'm saying, about it, equating it or being upset like it's going to take over. Tucker Carlson, of course, Tucker Carlson. You know what I mean? Talk about it's going to overtake Independence Day, and there is nothing to the fact. You know what I mean? Because of the wording, like what?
Hey man,
What?
you gotta tell them we still going barbecue, and I still want my day off.
Exactly, man. Hey, like Chuck D.
We
Hey,
ain't giving that one back either.
Hey, Chuck D, one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite songs by Chuck D is called "By the Time I Get to Arizona," and he's talking about John McCain and how Arizona was like, didn't want to honor Martin Luther King Day. You know what I'm saying? And one of his lines is in there. It says, "Why do I want a holiday? Damn it, 'cause I wanna." That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, why I want a
Look,
holiday?
man.
Damn it, 'cause I wanna. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think you need to. We need to. It has to be anything other than that, man.
As Americans, right? and I'm not changing the subject. I'm still on topic, but what because I'm talking about the holiday. As Americans, when you look from country to country and see how many holidays they have, we
Hmm.
have the least amount of holidays.
Oh
We
yeah,
work
yeah.
the
That's
most out of every first world nation. Yeah, we need more holidays. Guess what? I'm going to celebrate 4th and I'm going to celebrate Juneteenth.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, that was my boy Herm. All right. That was my boy Herm. My bad. Yo, what up, Herm, man? Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. That's because we live in a capitalistic.
Oh,
I
yeah, the
share I
world
share
never worked.
I shared something on my Facebook about how like over in Europe they'll have like an out of office reply like hey, I'm taking a vacation, I'll see y'all at the end of the summer or something like that. And hey, appreciate you, Will. I appreciate you, brother, for sharing, man. But they they'll send this out of office reply saying that they've been out of hey I'm out of office for the summer, I'll see you at the end of the summer in September or something, you know what I mean. And
Hmm.
then the American replies like, hey, I'm getting my kidneys pulled, send me I got my cell phone, send me a text or whatever, and I
Yeah, yeah,
contact. I'm like, dude, that is exactly what I mean,
yeah,
exactly why.
yeah.
But I mean, I appreciate the extra holiday, man. But my concern is going back to the storytelling, man. I don't want this to be turned into a myth like Martin Luther King did. Within a 10-year span, Martin Luther King Day got turned into it got turned into like a the last two sentences of his I Have a Dream speech, man. and
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, man, and we have a responsibility as African peoples, as black peoples, as a black ethnic group, to maintain the story. You know what I mean? Maintain that story, man. It's cool to have barbecues and hangouts and stuff, but talk about, don't be afraid to talk about, the Emancipation Day, Liberation Day. You know what I'm saying? Our black heroes and heroines. You know what I'm saying? And what they mean to our freedom today. You know?
So let's get into it. Being as though that you said that, right? Because we watching this play out again. The whole scenario of Martin Luther King.
Hmm.
So during that time, we watched a party. Um, as Black people were starting to make certain transitions and so forth politically and so forth. Then years later, a party who tries to basically adopt the narrative, then use the baseline of the narrative to keep minorities voting for that group. Um, Now you see a lot of pushback of you know Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the whole leader heads um, months ago, where Kente Cloth, or a year ago, where
Hmm.
Kente Cloth, and then on Juneteenth, you don't even see them even post anything, let alone even update their Democratic agenda board or in conversation. To me, how I view that, it's repeating the same scenario with the Martin Luther King. Now, we can have a conversation and dialogue from that point to point out the context and so forth, or whatever, or misnomers from that point.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I always viewed the kente cloth and like they were singing the Negro national anthem after. You know what I mean? Look, to the kente cloth for backstory that was suggested by the CBC, right? The CBC told them to do it. Now they just went a little far with all the kneeling and all that stuff. But at the time, I can't remember why they asked them, but they asked them to wear the kente cloth. I didn't need that, you know what I'm saying? Just like I didn't need them to sing, you know, the Negro national anthem. I don't need you to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to do that. You know what I mean? But I think that that's less harm to the storytelling of African American experience in America than it is when somebody is always bringing up Martin Luther King, you know, to try to tell black people to be docile. You know what I'm saying? Well, Martin Luther King wouldn't want that. You know, he wanted all black people to be good and be, you know what I mean? He wanted everybody to work together. Like, no, this man is on video saying, look, I'm coming to Washington to DC to get my check. That's not, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This man talked about, you know what I mean? He talked about, white liberals and their, how they are problematic, you know what I mean? In his letters, it's called Letter, in the Birmingham jail, or yeah, I'm messing up that title, but written in a Birmingham jail. I mean, he talked about that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's again, we've lost our education system. Much like what these people who are talking about CRT or being anti-CRT. You know what I'm saying? They are creating this thing to where people aren't learning, man. You know what I'm saying? We're always going to be in this point of divisiveness because we are teaching people to be afraid to learn. You know what I'm saying? You want to be afraid to learn about something? Learn about how Hawaii became a state. Learn about that, man. Learn about that. Learn about why they are Hawaiians and then they're Americans, man. Learn about that. You want to like it's fascinating to me how people can prevent who think that protecting people from history is somehow beneficial, and it's not because they're going to learn some way. you know yeah.
Look, man. Like I said, the two gentlemen that I was, speaking to, it's exactly what my point was to them. Is because they're anti-education.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it all really boils down to. Is you rather for me to be docile because you are docile,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't make sense to me because I enjoy one education. I enjoy history. I like economics. Like these are things that I enjoy. So constantly trying to attack someone because they are giving information, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Unless you're just telling me, we don't want to hear your education.
Yeah, I mean that's generally what it is. It's to end, and like you're saying, man. Like, look, man, me and you, we've been talking about this book. You know what I mean? I'm not Hispanic. I'm not Spanish. I'm not none of that, man. But it didn't stop me from picking up this book. You know what I mean? To read this book, man. You know what I'm saying? It didn't stop me from picking up this book. You know what I mean? To read, to learn, man. Like you're saying, I'm not afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Of history. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody should be afraid of history, man. And what I'm afraid of, again, for the CRT group, the anti CRT groups out there, is that they're going to dumb down people to take away the meaning of Juneteenth, man. And more importantly, stop the reparations conversation. You know what I'm saying? Reparations that should have happened, already. It should have been given to our grandparents already. You know what I'm saying? It should have been given to our parents already, man. You know what I mean? Our mom, grew up in Jim Crow era. She spent 11 years of her life in it. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where Delaware was occupied. Still, it holds the record for being being the only state in America to be occupied for the longest with military members. Military occupation for 9 months. So she had to go to school walking around, seeing people in military uniform telling her where to go You know what I mean? What time she had to be home. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was because of the MLK riots and things of that nature. So, my biggest fear is that we lose the storytelling aspect of it.
So you know what's crazy?
Mm,
You're pointing out the National Guard situation in Delaware.
mm,
So we traveled to Delaware weeks ago, and right before we went, there was a hostage situation and a shooting of police officers.
mm,
Um, but some of the responders were National Guards.
mm. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, no, no. You're talking about a police situation
Mm,
and in historical context of why the National Guards get called in a situation like that.
mm,
And that's what I was kind of just pointing at. It's just these are the reasons why we have to sit back. We gotta pick up something to read. It don't matter. Like me, I can't. I have a hard time sitting down, finding time reading a book.
yeah, nothing wrong
I
with it.
don't have long times a lot of times, and if I do have long time, I am too tired to sit back and pick up a book. And so
Look,
I just
most of
go
these
to
books I just read like I pick up a few pages here and there whenever I pick it up. You know what I mean? I got like bookmarks and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I pick them up, man. You know what I'm saying? You know.
there's not an article out there and data that I have not dove into
Mm,
and saved on my phone so I can look at it again,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
can understand information.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, but with so I want to talk about the reparations aspect of this and why it's important, man. Let me see here. Let me go to my let me see here. There are people out here sharing this dumb meme that they don't understand they don't understand civics, and they don't understand I'm gonna try to crop people out, man, but I don't want to,
Yeah.
call people out. But they don't understand civics, man, and stuff. So they're like, of course they're being cynical, right? Like, oh, well, we got a holiday, we ain't get reparations or voting rights or this other stuff.
Right,
Well,
right, right.
well, yeah, that's because you don't have 10, you don't have 12, you don't have 10 Republicans to sign on any legislation. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
So
saying? You
what
so
should you do?
yeah, so what are you gonna do, man? What is it that you're doing? Are you out here? Are you getting people to what is it that you're doing other than posting something on Facebook? You know what I'm saying? Like you're not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's yeah, it just drives me it's just crazy how people just post stuff without even thinking, man. Let me see if I can share this, man, without let me
Um,
see. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna blow
yeah,
this up. Let me see.
right,
All right.
right, right before you share, man, I just want to get into like this is where I think that those narratives are dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like and I'll use AOC as an example, right? So because AOC didn't do what some people thought that she was supposed to do about withholding her vote, um, I forgot what the policy was, and it was some months ago.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So people were angry at her because she was making a political move.
Mm.
Because people don't understand, like at some point of time, like you may have to give in as a progressive
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have the numbers. And the reason why you don't have the numbers is because voters tend to vote against their interests more than voting for their interests.
Mm-hmm.
And they put these politicians into position that then do what Manchin and Cinema does.
Yeah,
You
man. It's
can go
just
down the line. You can talk about you know whoever.
yeah, it's a understanding, and again, it goes back to what I'm telling people, man. Like, look, man, you got to show up for 2022. You can't just be sitting back, complain. Government don't work. The government government don't work the way that we've been led to believe that it works. You know what I'm saying? People believe that, oh, people sitting in these seats are going to do what's for the greater good of, of the population. No, you have to put people in those seats to do the greater good. You know what I mean? For like, LBJ was a out and out racist, man, but he signed the legislation, the civil rights legislation, because you have to put people in those seats to do the greater good. You know what I'm saying? If you just sitting there just putting people in the seats just because, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, other than putting people there for so they can pass legislation for the people, then you're really wasting a vote, man. You're really wasting a vote. And that's why, again, man, when it comes to Juneteenth, my concern is that, there's going to be people that's coming in, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, well, Juneteenth's not a federal holiday now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because people aren't paying attention. You know what I'm saying? You aren't paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And again, you don't have to be, you could tell history, man, without feeling guilty or without, without feeling that you're doing something wrong to white people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to turn down your blackness, man, in order to tell history, man. You can tell history from context. You know what I'm saying?
But you will always have, and I keep on mentioning these two guys because they are the greatest example.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when you have that happen, like these two guys, to always then start shouting at you, pointing out historical context.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing is they're hoping I turn down my blackness
To make them comfortable.
To make them comfortable.
Right.
But in their comfortability is a supremacist idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't have any real black friends. They don't know any real black people. They don't even conversate with black people, let alone even walk into a black shop and even buy anything.
Right. So that they can, yeah, man. I'm gonna share this other thing from Greg Carr, man, from Africana Carr, and he said here. Let me see. Let me show it on screen here. Let me see here. Let me make it bigger. So he said that today, Adoja Bashamoa and I bore witness to Mother Opal Lee as she finished a fight to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. It isn't a policy fix. It is, however, it is a liberation ritual of black self-determination. It's okay to take a moment to say that, then continue the big fight. And that's it, man. Like, people need to understand that. Like, we can take a moment, man. We can have a moment in the sun. You know what I mean? And keep that moment in the sun. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy our liberation holiday, our and enjoy it. And don't let people take away from that. You know what I'm saying? Because it is hold on, let me share this other thing. Because this is getting on my nerves. It really is. Seeing people that's doing this stuff. But there's black people sharing this.
So what is that saying?
Basically, the government just skipping over, reparations, police violence, voting rights, talking about race in school, and that's just a political party. That's not the government that's doing it. So call a thing a thing. It's the Republican Party. You know what I mean? That's that want to stop talking about race or racial hierarchy in schools. So, but voting rights, they're already talking about voting rights. You don't have the numbers to even pass legislation without filibuster, man. Stopping police violence. Again, they're talking about police violence. They're working on bill. Congress is working the way it's supposed to work. Reparations, again, HR 40 hasn't even come up for a vote yet. And that's just a study on reparations. And even still, you still need 60 votes. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, it's just ignorant, man. It's just ignorant, man. Just ignorant. Like,
Yeah, but you gotta understand. You gotta understand, man. The Republican Party for almost 40 years has been really, really good at messaging.
mm-hmm,
They have been great at messaging and marketing the message.
mm-hmm,
So they will repeat something. It was a gentleman who he studies all the right wing media.
mm-hmm,
In a 2 months time, they repeated critical race theory over 1,000 times in a 2 month span.
mm-hmm.
Well, when you go to CNN and MSNBC, because their problem with them is they want to make white liberals feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to not talk about black issues as much,
Yeah.
which creates the problem of trying to get the bills that was in between passed, because now you got moderate Democrats that are splitting votes. Then you
Mm-hmm.
got Republicans who's just not going to vote for it because that's who they are.
Yeah.
And that's what create that issue, but people can't point that out because you have the two biggest media outside of Fox News not even challenging white issues.
Well, because it's all infotainment, man. It's
Yeah,
not news. It's just
info.
infotainment, man. But the biggest thing, when it comes to Juneteenth, man, black people can't fall for that stuff, man. You know what I mean? You just simply can't. Like, you just can't fall for it, man. Like, understand the basics of government, man. Understand, and you're right, man. Like this messaging that comes from the Republican Party it just bleeds over into people who don't tune in as much as we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're being clever by sharing something like that, but they don't realize how ignorant they are. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
look
It's just a
dumb. Like,
process.
yeah, it's just a process, and
Yeah.
and voting is just one step in that process. You got to
Mm-hmm.
do more if you want reparations, if you want voting rights, if you want to stop
Mm-hmm.
police violence. Make phone calls, get out there and canvas, get out there and put people in the position. But if you're just sitting behind your phone or your computer, you ain't doing nothing. You're not
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
nothing, man. So,
yeah.
but again and again, this is my concern. My concern with Juneteenth. As these years go by, what I'm saying is that the ignorance gets louder and louder and louder and louder to where the significance of Juneteenth, where black people won't even want it anymore. So when somebody comes and be like, oh well, they don't want it, you know what I'm saying? So we're just gonna get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as quickly as it came, it went. And you know why? It's because I'll just call it thing a thing. Because white people can't tell the story. They tell the story of Martin Luther King, right? They could distort the story of Martin Luther King. You can't distort the story of 1865. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You can't
right.
distort the story of the emancipation. You can't distort the story of, you know what I mean, of abolishing the practice of slavery, even though it stayed around till the 13th Amendment. You can't distort that story. So, that's my fear. And of course, you see these ignorant, these grifters, these black people who speak about black people. They don't speak to black people, and they are out here trying to distort Juneteenth. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm gonna celebrate July 4th. Nobody, no, you good. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, man. Like, if you want to celebrate July 4th, celebrate it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like, okay, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean you got poo poo on Juneteenth in order to celebrate. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, it's
But I
ridiculous.
honestly think, like looking back, right? No, I agree. I agree. But I think, like, looking back, right, and you dive into the last 20 years of how we as Black people. So for the first part of that 20 years, we almost, you know, our voting numbers were very low, and
We talking what? Which 20 years?
just 20 years ago, from in 2000s,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and you started seeing it kind of incline. But what was happening was from that period, historically, when you dive into the numbers from the 70s on to early, you know, late 1990s, we were politically checked out as a group.
Mm-hmm. And that was
You
mainly
know,
because, like we were talking about, there was a nostalgia of the civil rights era where people are just like, "Oh, phew, man, I'm glad that's
yeah,
over with." You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what that did for us was then you started seeing politically the Republicans gain power,
Mm-hmm.
and now you see kind of, and I'm gonna say it, um, and we can dive into it if you want, but when Barack Obama made the statement about the woke crowd, people don't see how dangerous that kind of conversation is, and this is how some Democrats try to tone down black voice,
Mm-hmm.
because then it starts being too loud in their party.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that black voice is what get policy passed and change the nation.
Yeah, I think he was talking about. I think he was talking about when he was mentioning it. It was about. It was surrounding about the people talking about the messaging of defund the police.
No, no, no. Yeah, I get that. I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you got to realize how the right wing receives it and how they twist messages.
Yeah, yes, the right wing they're gonna do what they're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what they're going to do, and people need to be smart enough to understand that you're being manipulated by the right wing in this country,
Agreed.
who are just trying to create a power structure that is authoritarian in nature, and they just want you to basically comply at every whim of anybody that's in political power. You know what I'm saying? Did you know, when yes, there are Democrats who do try to shut down the progressive, the progressive voices in the Democrat Party. What I say is dangerous. I won't say it's dangerous. I think that it is. I think that it's an issue for sure. But again, until the younger people in this country vote more often than the older people in this country, because the younger people are more progressive than the older people, then that's always going to be the case. You know what I'm saying? And why anybody can make that statement, and why
Well, the
like Barack
policies,
Obama can make that statement.
yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
policies that's been pushed forward show how dangerous it is.
Policies as.
A- As far as the heartbeat bill, um, let's see, voter restriction. That's how dangerous it is, because you got to realize, for me, looking and talking to some of these people, and how they internalize some of this message, is they are using some of this context from Democrats and moderate Democrats, and turning it on its head and using it against another base. And that is where it becomes dangerous, because all it gives is Republicans power.
hmm Let me see this. Let's get to this. Let's see. Who's this? Immaculate Fuller saying, "Bro, at my job, people are literally like, what is this Juneteenth y'all speak about?" Yeah, man, that's been the reaction. Like, I think a lot of people, white folk across the country, man, like, what in the world is Juneteenth? You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's been the sentiment. And I think that, a lot of I seen somebody like, basically saying, well, I've never heard of this, so why is this important now? You know what I mean? Without understanding that Juneteenth was celebrated well after, you know what I'm saying, or well before the 1980s when it became a state holiday in Texas. You know what I mean? And then it started becoming state holidays in other states in the form of Emancipation Day, Independence Day, or Freedom Day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. There's been people, all the white folk, just and a lot of it is is rhetoric, man. It's just anti-black rhetoric, right? They don't want black people celebrating anything. They don't want black people celebrating our Americanness, right? How we created this country, how we built this country, our contributions to the country, and they don't understand that that's part of our heritage, and that's what make us an ethnic group, and and that's what make us the collective. The collective voice, the collective culture that we are, So it's up to them to learn, because they gonna have to learn about it. Their kids gonna learn about it, and their grandkids gonna learn about it. And so, but yeah, man. So yeah, I'm excited for Juneteenth this weekend. I'm excited for Juneteenth every year. Again, I'm not going to be the person that juxtapose it against July 4th, but yeah, yeah, man, yeah, man. They understand. They understand that I think some people, they're fuller. I think some people have come to the realization that they've been misled or lied to, and they're trying to come to grips with that. You know what I'm saying? That there's a part of the story, that there's a part of the American myth that got left out, and it was left out with intent, and it was left out with purpose. And now that part of the story can't be left out anymore. They're going to have to confront it. They're going to have to come face to face with it. You know what I'm saying? And again, part of that is, going back to the reparations discussion, the whole point of, and why people who are in support of reparations need to be good with this piece of legislation is because the government admits that there was a problem, that there was a wrong. So you already, that's step one. You already admit it. So all right. So when we do this study, then we get to step 2, 3, and 4, and 5 until they come to the obvious conclusion, which there should be reparations. And what that look like. But yeah, man, it does feel weird. No joke, because again, we're living in historical moments, man. People need to understand the historical time frame that we're living in. When it comes to the COVID, the pandemic, when it comes to how many people turned out to vote, how many black people turned out to vote, and the Juneteenth, celebration. Yeah, man. So, yeah. Yeah, John.
No, I was gonna say, it's also the liberation, man. People have a hard time with us celebrating liberation. Me personally, yeah, I'm gonna separate it from June 4th, and I'm gonna keep on repeating it
Mm.
because it doesn't make any sense for us to go out as of right now until we understand our own history and our own accomplishments, that we go out and celebrate something else that don't have anything to do with our liberation.
Mm.
And we will always be in a place to constantly fight for liberation. Now, we are in a historical moment where our fight is just not about our liberation. It's about liberating everyone,
Mm.
black, brown, white. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. But we also are fighting for us to be liberated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. I was just for clarification. Yeah, when I say juxtapose it, I mean that people don't have to do this and or thing. Like
Yes,
you do your own thing, man. Whatever you want to do, man. Don't come to me like Well, I'm not so. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. That's just me, man.
no, I'm,
I don't think there has to be a battle between the either. I think that's there has to be education on both sides, right? Because
yes,
even with July 4th, there was argument about July 4th, the actual Independence Day of America. If you read history, what I mean, many people said it should have been the 2nd of July. You know what I
right,
mean? Because that's when the Declaration of Independence was signed. The 4th is when it was like stamped or had some mailing, when it got mailed out or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And part of Independence Day, of 1776, they don't teach about, all the indigenous tribes that no, excuse me, all the indigenous tribes that assisted in America, winning a war. They don't talk about a small Muslim country. I can't remember the name of the country right now. I don't think it exists anymore. But a small Muslim country that contributed to the Americans winning the war. They don't talk about part of our heritage of the Brits coming over and saying, hey, we already ended slavery. Y'all can come be British citizens, you know what I'm saying, and took a good portion of the Africans that was here, and then did the same thing in the War of 1812. When America wrote the Star, when I'm sorry, Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner. And the third stanza that we don't talk about, where he's talking about, killing the Brits and killing the slaves, is because there were slaves like yo, we out of here, man. They said they're gonna give us freedom, we out. So all of that is part of the ethos of American history, man. That just needs to be told. We just need to properly tell history, man, and stop being afraid of it, man. Stop being
that's it.
afraid of it, man. And yeah, just stop being afraid of history, man, and enjoy it, man. Like no person that identifies as being white should be like oh, this holiday isn't for me. No, this is for you. You can go
Yeah,
out and celebrate Juneteenth. Go out, man. Go meet with people, different culture people you probably would not hang out with otherwise. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Go
Go
out
learn.
there, go
Go taste the
learn.
food.
Yeah, man, go taste the food. Hey, man, be part of our look. Part of our culture, our ethnicity, is AAVE, right? We grew up in the 90s, 80s, and the 90s, and they were trying to tell us to stop speaking Ebonics. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now everybody speaks AAVE. Everybody speaks it, man. A lot of these influencers out here, guess what? They're making millions of dollars off of AAVE. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
By being influencers. So, yeah, man, it's crazy, man. But yeah, man. But all this ties into reparations, and if you support reparations, then you should support this holiday, and you celebrate this holiday, and celebrate your blackness, celebrate your Africanness, celebrate your ancestors on this day. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You got anything else, man?
No, man. Look, everybody, man. Look, if you're not going out for Juneteenth to celebrate, man, I say, look, man, sit your kids down, have a conversation with them. At
Mm,
least just 5 minute, 10 minute conversation about Juneteenth, and that way your kids can start understanding some things. And like you pointed out, Tay, look, this is for everybody, man. This is, and I'm going to take his slogan. If you really want to make this country great again, honestly, let's all learn about each other.
mm,
Let's take this moment to really learn about each other, and that's honesty. Like
yeah.
don't let's not hide nothing. Let's just go ahead and have the conversation,
Mm, mm,
and let's not take away from what others experience.
right.
Let's just go back to the table and sit back and say, how can I work on it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. Go out, enjoy, man, and and have fun, man. But yeah, man, that's yeah, man. I think that's where we going. We going to end this, man. Oh, I didn't even get to my controversy, and that's a change the. We have to change the Juneteenth flag to a national flag. There's not the regular Juneteenth flag, which is shown in the background here. I'm gonna show it real quick. Hold on, real quick. All right, that's the Texas Juneteenth flag.
Is that
But
Galveston?
no, I think that's called the Boston Bin, I believe. Let me see. No, it's just the state of Texas flag. The Texas Juneteenth flag
Okay.
was created by organizer Ben Haith, also known as Boston Ben, who founded the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation. Ben Haith created the flag in 1997. Yeah.
Facts, man. Facts.
Yeah. Oh, this was created in let me see. And the flag was first hoisted in 2000 at Roxbury Heritage State Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Okay. So it wasn't created in Texas. But that's the most common flag when you see Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Flag, Sheila Jackson Lee in 2003.
I'm going to order my flag, man, for my neighbor. He gets to fly his "Don't Tread on Me" flag, so I figure,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're going to start complaining about it once I put it up, and that's going to make me have a conversation.
Yeah. I'm most definitely gonna get a flag to fly out every Juneteenth, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a flag to fly one every Juneteenth, man. So it's gonna be pretty cool to see all the flags going out, flying up and everything like that, man. And like you saying, man, have a tell a story and things of that nature. But I still feel it should be changed to a national flag to encompass all of the emancipation, all of the freedom and independence days that African Americans started in their own state. You know what I mean? And like Africana Carr said, you know what I mean? Black people in Charleston, South Carolina, started Commemoration Day, and it turned into Memorial Day, National Day. So we run culture in this country, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, man. Well,
we are American culture.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man. That'll do it for us, man. Enjoy your Juneteenth, man. Enjoy your Juneteenth. Go out, celebrate, go out and learn, and continue learning, and push forward that knowledge, man. Yeah, man. John, you got anything?
Nope. I just want to say, yeah.
That should be that should be the official not slogan, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's the call. That's
the call. Yeah, man. All right, man. Hey, y'all have a Yeah. All right, man. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you. Go and join and have a happy Juneteenth. Go celebrate, learn. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.